always this pressure to start with some big ta-da. I guess there shouldn't be. Like this time I was going to go, good morning, Vietnam. I don't know why that came to my head. But anyway, we're back. Holy cows, there's a lot going on. But we're going to stay on this because this is transformational. So I'm going to review a little bit, as we always do. Last time we talked about freeing up your mind. What does that do? Frees up energy. How do you want to do it? By doing way less. How do you get there? Who, not how. Our civilization is always advanced by extending the number of operations we can perform without thinking about them. Think about that. And that's, and that pace is picking up. I mean, there's been more change in the last 10 than in the last 50, and more in the last 50 than in the last 150. Technology is really putting a fire on it, a lot to keep up with. I think that makes who's even more important. But I'm going to sum up last time by reviewing Jacob. Jacob was an attorney, or is an attorney. At the time, he had over 10 years of experience. And he'd given up most things he didn't want to do. But he came to that gradually. Again, it took him 10 years to figure that out. And so the first thing he gave up was driving. Now you say, how do you give up driving? Well, who could help you give up driving, John?
Some pretty big companies out there.
Today, especially, right? He used Uber. Didn't have to hire himself a full-time driver and all that. I mean, he just used Uber. But since giving up driving, he's on time more often. He's less stressed. He's more focused. He's better prepared for meetings because he's got the drive time to prepare. He's freed up time in his mind, allowing him to be more creative and to capitalize on more opportunities, which in turn means he can create what? Greater sums of revenue. There's a method to this madness. And so by relieving himself of this decision fatigue over driving or not driving, when to leave, etc., what way to go, Jacob has freed up his mind to go into different places, which allows for creative expansion of his vision. Opportunities that would have been lost in the past now become possible. He can take them on. Now, it was an investment, not a cost. It was an investment for him to give up driving. And I wonder, actually, if there was an analysis done. Didn't have a car payment, didn't have insurance over the cost of it, over the time frame of a year. I wonder what the real difference was, because I don't think most of us think about that. If you're driving, you've got a car, it costs you something. It's really an investment. Yeah. But in any event, he looked at that added resource as an investment, and he easily justified it. However, what if he had not done that? What limitations would that have put on his vision and ultimately what he was able to do? So who, not how, he gave up driving, gave up something that was an inefficient behavior that he could really let somebody else do, and it opened up a world of possibility. Now, there's something critical in that mindset shift, though, John. What is that?
Well, there's got to be a commitment to specific results. And before we get too far away from that, you had alluded to like some epiphanies that have come of late. And I think a lot of it has to do with embracing exactly what Jacob has done. Now, I haven't done it to that nth degree where I'm not driving anywhere.
Yeah.
But right? And actually, an assistant is one of the things that pretty high on my priority list. Virtual assistant, maybe to start with, but someone to kind of handle the mundane tasks, right? The day-to-day stuff. But there is some freedom and the decision fatigue that comes with, and then also goes away when you like start to get things off of your plate and leveraging the right people. For example, I was about to create another system for, like, I'm building out this leads program thingy, found a who's helping me take it to the next level. And I just asked him a question. I said, hey, is it possible if I do XYZ, right? Just to put an example out there. And the response he gave me was, would you like me to do it for you? Right. So can't tell you how amazing that feels, right? To have people like that in your corner that are willing to step up because that's what he's passionate about, right? That's what he brings as far as value and where he sees he can make the most impact in helping other people, taking stuff like that off of my plate and then helping me progress and move forward with the business. So there's a lot of examples of it. That one sticks out to me, and I didn't want to get too far away from that without sharing something specific for helping you guys with that. But I'm going to share a quote. I'm going to read a quote. So then that way I don't mess it up or try to paraphrase it. And it's about a commitment specific. It's a tough word to say. Say that like 5 times fast. Commitment to a specific result. So commitment is a statement of what is. You can know what you're committed to by your results, not by what you say you're committed to. We are all committed. We are all producing results. The result is proof of a commitment
or lack thereof.
or lack thereof. It makes me think of that saying that's out there. It says, your action speaks so loud that I can't even hear what you're saying. And a lot of times we'll get people that come to us and tell us, oh, I'm going to be the next millionaire real estate agent, right? I'm going to be the next person that builds $1 million business or like this huge organization or empire. But what happens most of the time?
They don't.
Right? It's not right.
And
And
so
it's not.
therefore we know what their commitment is
We know what their
and is
commitment
not.
is, right? So it's interesting. So I attempt to pay more attention to what people do versus what they say. But um let's take a look here. So it's 2008 and a young new attorney, Nicole, couldn't find a job during the recession. Another story, right? Another example. So Nicole started her own firm. For a year and a half, Nicole was solo, working 80 to 100 hours per week. Who has ever done that before? I have. I know what it's like. I don't work 80 to 100 hours a week anymore because of this who, not how concept. I might work 75. A good amount because we're still building and we're still looking for the right people and we're still in like an active growth mode. But 80 to 100 hours per week. For those of you that have been there, you can relate. She was doing everything herself. She was grinding, as was considering and was considering getting out of law altogether. How many of you work so hard, put in so much effort, and been so tired in what you're doing, you think maybe this isn't the thing I should be doing, or feel like giving up or quitting? She wanted freedom, but wasn't even making six figures while killing herself, doing everything on her own. Again, something else I can relate to. Nicole had to make a change. She had to invest in her first employee and learned a valuable who, not how lesson. There's a fantastic book about this called The E-Myth. E-Myth Revisited or just the E-Myth? I think it's E-Myth Revisited. Whatever.
Revisit is just an update.
Yeah, perfect. So if you just search the E-Myth, and I think there's a couple different versions of it. So depending on like where you work and what business you're in, there might even be like I think there's a real estate version too. Another book that helped me with this mindset shift. Go check it out. She learned other people, and specifically the right people, are more capable than she was at doing almost everything she was killing herself to do. Almost like my example, right? With my guy who is now helping me build this amazing program for our team. She learned time away from her work to recover was essential to her happiness and confidence. Something that's very important. I think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs don't take very seriously. Taking time off to recharge, and then it allows you to come back stronger, clear headed. And like we've covered before, some of your best ideas, most of your best ideas come in that downtime when you're not running, and it gives your brain a chance to kind of develop those ideas. This also impacted her performance and income. She also learned about escalation of commitment. Every time you invest more into something, you become more committed to it. The increase in your commitment brings greater clarity to your purpose. Greater clarity opens up time for greater results in revenue. More revenue affords you more solutions, more investments, and even more clarity. One of our mentors only makes about $150,000 a month. One of the things that he said, and like resonates with me, and as part of this epiphany that I just had, actually, I thought back to, I just hear Shane's voice in my head: pray for clarity.
I'm sure he'd be thrilled to hear that.
Right. Pray for clarity. But and it's funny, you got to hear things over and over again sometimes before they sink in. But it's like he was putting it in there, and then you think like, pray for clarity, seek clarity, ask for clarity, and the more you do that, the more it shows up. But today, finishing Nicole's story here. Today, Nicole has independence, has become a transformational leader, adopting this concept of who, not how, empowering other people to do, fulfill on their purpose or do the things that she's not passionate about, which then frees up her time to then focus on her top performing activities, to then increase her income, increase her happiness, and then overall increase her fulfillment and get greater clarity on what her purpose is. So, what is transformational leadership, Mark?
Well, the components of it is what I'll go through, and what it applies to. It's great to have freedom. It's great to say who, not how. But those who's matter. Keep in mind, you are significant who to them too. And that's the underlying point of being a transformational leader. So when you look at the who's that you're leveraging, it's not just I can't think of an example, but they're not. They may or may not be employees. But you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get, well, maybe you'll get somewhere. You're not going to get to where we're trying to impact people going by treating them with no regard. And so they demand, and to get the most out of people really is what this ultimately is about. They demand individualized consideration. So you're going to act as a mentor or coach, which means be attentive, listen to their needs, listen to their concerns, listen to their goals, celebrate each of them for the individual contribution that they're making. They need to be stimulated intellectually. So again, this doesn't mean there's going to be autonomy, but it doesn't mean it's autonomy without interaction. So challenge people's assumptions and beliefs. That's how they grow. But at the same time, solicit ideas from them, because that's how they get engaged. You're going to also be building confidence when you begin to rely on the autonomy. The confidence can help them make autonomous decisions. You aren't responsible for motivating them, but inspiring them will motivate them. And I had a mentor of ours, John, tell me, I asked him directly, what's the most important thing we owe our people? He pointed to this: inspiration. The best way to do that is to articulate a clear, inspiring, kind of lame way to put it, but articulate a vision that is appealing. And always be challenging for them to push themselves and increase their own personal standards, while also finding a strong sense of purpose in doing so. And ultimately, all this will result in you will be influential. You will be transformational. You will have influence over people. If you don't use that responsibly, it won't last for long or forever. If you use it responsibly, it will have generational impact, perhaps even not just on your life, but even on theirs. So you'll be instilling pride in them, and they're going, again, their belief will go up in the achievements that they can accomplish. And that will be a cultural shift within your ecosystem. And they'll then start to go through the transformation that we have, that we're sharing with you. And if you want to have an impact on people, you get to this point, that transformational vision. It's unreal the impact you'll have. It's unreal the impact or the level of, I mean, opening, expanding people's minds to new possibilities, what they'll believe they're capable. And if you want ultimately a self-managing team, these things are critical. You must be a transformational leader in those ways to the who's that you're leveraging, because they have got to be invested and committed to you and to that vision. After all, there's two kinds of suffering: long suffering and short suffering. Now, before I conclude, I'm going to add that we hear this all the time. It's very similar. Broke's being hard. It's hard to be broke. It's hard to get wealthy. Pick your heart. There's long suffering and there's short suffering. Pick your suffering. You can struggle along and you can make decisions and you can be hard and tough and not care about people and suffer for a long time. Or you can start to work on yourself first, start to become who you need to become as a significant who to others, and only suffer for a short period of time. Listen, as entrepreneurs, we cross the risk line. That's probably the key component to being an entrepreneur. If you're not taking any risk, I hear a lot of real estate agents, call themselves entrepreneurs. I suppose they've taken a level of risk in not having a job with a quote unquote reliable income, but what real risk are they taking? Entrepreneurs cross the risk line. From the time we decide we're going to enter a results economy, that's the risk we're taking. There's no guaranteed income. We live by our ability to create value. We don't always hit the mark. In fact, those are the best lessons when you don't hit the mark.
Sure.
There's times you're going to make a huge effort. Ryan and I talked today. There's going to be some stuff he's about to do for us that's not going to result in what, in the short term, what we want. Or might be relatively small results. It's going to happen. If you don't have the grit, you don't have the tenacity, you don't have the patience. You know, you've seen that image where somebody quits 3 feet from the gold. It'll be you. But other times, as this starts to take hold and the momentum grows, there will be minimal effort and you will get big results. So we always have to focus on the results or there is no revenue. And everyone on your team needs to understand that relationship between results, revenue, and the risk that you've taken and the rewards that are available.
Let me interrupt for a second. So are you saying that essentially the goal is, and what we're building and what we're trying to help other people build, is to, essentially with less effort, create more results?
I'll go one step further. And I think this is your favorite thing we've heard in the last 5 years. We want to help you get paid to do nothing.
Yeah. Well,
here we're sharing this is the red pill.
It is. And really following that train, you know, freedom comes really when you focus on results and let go to allow others to achieve those results. So
I'm going to interrupt you real quick because you brought up the email. That's the whole point of the email.
Yep.
And most small businesses, most of you out there are operating under the assumption that nobody can do it as good as you. And you are the biggest reason you are where you are. To John's point, when you start letting go and allowing others to achieve results, all of this starts to happen.
And building on that, those people that you're allowing to now take control and do the things that they're passionate about and being a significant other to you, they need to perform, they need the freedom to perform. And essentially that is what that self-managing team is. So self-destination theory, basically a sense of
Self-determination theory.
Oh,
give that another shot.
Yep. So basically self-determination theory, a sense of competence, autonomy in their work with high goal clarity. Say that again. High goal clarity. Without clarity, people wander. I've been there myself. I'm sure many of us have. So pray for clarity, ask for it every single day. Positive and meaningful relationships. A sense of competency, autonomy in their work with high goal clarity, positive and meaningful relationships. Now, leadership has one primary objective. Is that redundant? Is it redundant to say one primary objective? A little bit. I thought about that as I was saying that out loud. Leadership has.
We'll see if the comments are. That's redundant.
And I like the way it sounds, so I'm going to roll with it. So leadership is one primary objective. You need to articulate a clear vision, basically the what, and the desired outcome or goal, where you want to end up, where you want to help other people end up. Provide feedback and direction when needed. So not like overarching, micromanaging, but when you see your people start to wander or you notice that they're off task, give them that feedback, give them direction, keep them on track. And it's not your role to explain how the job is done, because otherwise we'd be explaining everything all the time. But
and they'd always be coming back to you.
Right, for more, because I need more explanation. But in giving them the autonomy and the freedom, giving them the clear vision and goal, and then consistent feedback when you see them start to wander, they will start to get it. That's what we say. When they
well,
start
maybe.
I guess you can't make anybody get it. And
if they don't, not the right who.
Not the right who if they don't.
That's a whole nother conversation.
It is. But if they do, one person can make you more busy than 60 other people. Don't get it. Or one who could double or triple or quadruple or 10x your results and revenue.
Well, and I'm going to close here, but I want you to share. You didn't get to it, so I'm going to pull it out of you. You recently had an epiphany. And wasn't new to us. We knew this was necessary, but you got immediate feedback, which gave you an epiphany when maybe you did it differently. Maybe you did it more passionately. Don't know what the difference might have been from the last time you did it, but you gave what you felt was the clearest articulation of our vision to someone. And what happened?
They bought in completely. And I think I'm going to have to paraphrase. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, that's exactly what I want. Which is amazing.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right? Which is amazing. And to further it, so like, because I'm a person that I like to test theories, right? And let's make sure that I'm onto something here. Make sure it's not just a one-hit wonder, right? So I had a second conversation with a peer / mentor. I would say probably mentor first, peer second, of mine that I've known for a long time. And I simply did the same thing and sharing where I see all this going, where we're going to end up with the enterprise and what the different responsibilities could be, or I don't want to say positions because that sounds too jobby. Roles. I like roles, right? What the different roles could be in us serving each other and building something together. And I started getting asked questions that I had never heard from this individual before. Questions like, well, how do you see this going in that direction? Where do you see the most opportunity in this or that? And can we start the biggest one that really made me feel like the vision was clear and they were like getting it was, can we have regular calls to talk more about this? Right? Like an ongoing conversation so we can keep diving deeper into this. It's like we talk about it all the time in creating curiosity and being like a magnet or an attractor in the space.
Well,
And
I think, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to close with, in those two experiences that I had there, sharing the and candidly, I've been a little hesitant on sharing the big picture. Shame on me for minimizing it to where I think people are at and what I think they would understand, or what I
Okay. All
think
right.
would
I'm
be.
going to cut you off because that's the perfect place to end. And we're probably getting close to time. So that
Oh,
honestly, I didn't know that was a part of the epiphany, but that's the perfect place to end.
okay, there we
With
go.
your and this is recorded, with his um confession that he hasn't been sharing a big enough vision. And the two times now in the last week that he has, the results are beginning to be transformation. So listen, we're going to keep pushing this topic. We are who, not how pushers. Um, and we still in book one of book three of three books. If any of this is resonating with you and you're not sure how to apply it, you're not sure what it means to you, comment, question, reach out. Let's communicate. We're here to collaborate, not necessarily only by our definition of it. However, we are very aggressively looking for collaborative partners. And so if this is resonating with you and you just don't have a way to pursue it, you don't have a vehicle to hitch your wagon to, let's talk more. Why don't you wrap it up administratively?
Oh, my favorite part, I guess. Or I'm yeah, I won't go that route. So if you hung out this long, you probably don't hate us. So give us a like. If you want to stay involved in this conversation, up to date as we release more of these videos, subscribe. And if you heard something in here that you think might impact or help another human being, please share it with them. Because that's our goal, is to impact as many people as we can. Really just make a difference. It's on my shirt. That's all I got.
Awesome. Until we meet again.
Next week.